This time on Captain Chaos's Laboratory, we're going to be working on the Department 56 North Pole Porcelain Building Works 30th Anniversary Special Edition. So, I was told that this was stored accidentally with some batteries in it. And the batteries kind of sort of corroded some stuff, as well as one of the lights or the light inside doesn't work right. So this is a pretty interesting house. Here is the button, and there's the battery pack, and there's the battery pack cover, stored separately inside the box. Then it has this, which is, if you don't have this house, it's pretty neat. You can unscrew the bottom of this, remove the pod, and then replace it with an incandescent standard light. So technically, if this broke, you could just change out the light yourself to something non-battery operated. So I'm going to flip it over so you can get a better view. You can kind of see the corrosion that's in there pretty bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this inner pod, 4 screws, so we can work on this without damaging the house. And you can see it says 30th anniversary right there. So the light may not work because of the corrosion on the terminals, but the person said that one of the lights, so I'm assuming there's more than one, doesn't work. And they don't know how to clean the terminals, so I'll show you how to clean your terminals. There we go. There's the pod. Well, even if you unplug it, what's this for? Only plug this cord into display anywhere lighting remote control receiver sold separately. Okay. So you can make it light up, but you can't make the lights in the window light up without the battery pack. So we're gonna get that out of the way. And now I can move this easier. You can kind of see all that corrosion. So there's a few ways to remove corrosion. I use rubbing alcohol, and I use an old toothbrush. You can use a new toothbrush. I wouldn't recommend brushing your teeth afterwards with it, but you know, to each their own. I just gotta find where I put my toothbrush. Started moving stuff, and there we go. Old toothbrush. And I use rubbing alcohol. And just to get into some of the tighter crevices, get out some cotton swabs. Get some thinner ones just in case. And some paper towel. So this is not as bad as it could be. I've seen a lot worse. But we are going to start with toothbrush and rubbing alcohol. The reason I use rubbing alcohol is it's good for most all electronics, and it doesn't have a big smell. Vinegar, if you like the smell of vinegar, it's completely fine. You can definitely use vinegar, but vinegar smells after the fact. You have to use like distilled water or something to negate the smell. Rubbing alcohol, once it evaporates, there's no more smell. And this toothbrush is one of those sonic brushes, which actually helps a little bit. You can see how it throws the stuff. I use both a sonic brush and a regular brush. Now, sometimes corrosion is so hard that you have to use a blade, like a small screwdriver or a knife, to scrape it. I'm going to have to do it on this terminal here. So it's got some corrosion deep down inside. So I'm going to chisel the corrosion now that it's been wetted with the alcohol. Chisel the corrosion out. So they tell you not to put batteries in long-term storage. We all do it. So it's not uncommon. It's just out here what's really horrible about being in Arizona is that if this is stored in your attic or your shed and it hits 120 in the shade, so that means it's 180, 200 degrees in your shed, the batteries explode violently. I've actually had batteries explode so bad that I've actually had to drill the battery out. Not in a porcelain house or anything like that, but like in a flashlight I left in my shed. The batteries blew up and corroded so badly we couldn't get them out, even unscrewing both ends of the flashlight body and beating on it with a stick. I ended up using a drill bit and boring a hole and just kept augering out the batteries until you get to the casing edge and then peel the casings out. That's how bad they exploded in the heat that they actually formed to the inside of the flashlight. So stuff like this isn't uncommon. I'm going to use a smaller cotton swab. And we do it all the time. Most people don't even think about it. You got your remote for your television. There's a battery in there. Quits working. Sometimes you open it up, it's just a dead battery. Other times you open it up and it's covered in white and blue acid. Rubbing alcohol will also help kill that. Same with vinegar. It does two things. It not only helps clean off the acid, helps neutralize the acid. Because if the acid gets moist from humidity or water, it can reactivate and become corrosive again. Alright, so it's a lot cleaner. It's shiny. Let's put some batteries in here and see if this thing actually works. Maybe this was just going to be a tutorial on how to clean battery acid. And just to be safe, we'll pop the Department 56 cover on it. So that's kind of interesting. This thing can take a, I don't know if you heard me read it, but I'll read it again just in case you didn't. Only plug this cord into a display anywhere lighting remote control receiver sold separately. So this little 30th anniversary piece is pretty nifty in the sense that it can have the adapter for the light bulb. Takes 4 AA's. The lights aren't coming on. So there's a light in the window, he said, which is not coming on. And there's also these two lights right here. Are my batteries bad? I just took them out of the packaging. Or do I have it in backwards? No. It's my contacts. think they're bad batteries, but you know, I have had stranger. Alright, so we're going to go to AA. So this is a basic battery tester. It tests all sorts of batteries. You can use a standard voltmeter, so that's good. And I know these aren't expensive like Duracells or anything, but they should still be good. Okay, so batteries are all good. Just making sure there's no other corrosion on the contacts. I don't see any. Unless the corrosion got back in here and damaged the wiring. So one more test. One battery. Two battery. Three battery. And four. Yeah, okay. So probably just some corrosion. Or I just didn't have the battery seated right, because they actually clip in pretty hard. I don't know if they clip in hard because they're designed to, or if they clip in hard because it's distorted from being hot. And there's our little fire. So I'm going to stick this back together real quick, and we'll see what it looks like in the dark. So this just turned out to be bad corrosion. So if you made this a lit piece without using this battery pack, you would not have the fire. It only goes in one way. Don't force it. Probably would also recommend losing these screws if you swap them. These are like the same, a little bit bigger than motor screws. They might be kind of hard to replace, but you technically only need two to hold it in. Just diagonal if you do lose a one or two. Don't lose all of them though. There's your fire. There's your Department 56 embossed cover. There's your 2005 was the year. So let's kill a few lights here and see what this looks like in low light. This new laboratory has lights everywhere, except it's just not as bright. And there we go. But actually, the camera is picking this one up pretty close to what it looks like in person, except for, if I do this, you can now see the chimneys. I can see the chimneys, whereas the camera looks like it's having a hard time seeing the chimneys. But it's actually a pretty nice looking piece. It's with those two LEDs and then the flicker LED in the fireplace. And then you got Santa, I think, or a guy that looks like I'm shoveling wood or coal into it. It actually looks pretty good. It's actually well lit. It's a very muted light piece. It's not overly bright. You can even see that on the camera. The brightest is the window, which is the focal point of the piece, and the low light or dark. I had a little background light. I do this. Just turn the light. So we just have a little ambient light in here. So with, I don't know how well on the viewfinder, it's horrible, but these chimneys actually are somewhat translucent. And I mean the whole way. This one and this one. This one, no. But these two are. And that's probably because they're closer to those two LEDs that are right here in the battery box. But the lighting isn't overpowering. It's actually not bad looking. I'm not into this kind of piece, but this is actually a very well basic lit piece. The way it's set up is the light reflects from the top down. So the inside being white porcelain is reflecting and illuminating, and you can kind of see through some of the roof and the, the back windows. You can kind of see the lights right through the thinner spots on the porcelain. But it reflects down, giving you a top glow, similar to what you would have if you had lights on your ceiling that are warm, not cold white. And it gives you a good illumination. I kind of like this style lighting where it's not direct lighting, it's indirect lighting. And they did a really good job on this piece. And I really do like the fact that it's got this little fireplace that flickers when you plug in the batteries. Kind of stinks that you lose it when you use a light bulb. But they may have it so the lights reflect through in the back. I didn't look. There might be a hole. So if you put a white light in here, it just glows orange. I didn't check that. I'm assuming they would have thought of that when they built this piece. I'm going to bring the lights back. And because this one's kind of getting in my face, the one over here on my left. Because it's a bit pointing away. And one more light here. There we go. So, this, and if you haven't seen this piece, it says North Pole Porcelain Building Works, because, of course, Department 56 is porcelain buildings. And the trim of the house is all little houses. Check that out. We have an outside chimney clean. All the way around. Just on this piece here. And then the pillars are miniature houses. See, the attention to detail is great on this piece. And then you got little houses inside right there that aren't painted yet. Oh, this is a kiln. That's a house. I didn't notice that. So he's sticking the porcelain houses into a kiln. This is actually a really well detailed piece since Department 56 is a porcelain house manufacturer. This is a really cool piece. You got your back doors. Even your windows look like miniature houses. So all this detail, this is a really neat little piece. It's more for Christmas, hence the North Pole series, but you can tell by the garland, the wreath, the trees. So, relatively easy to fix. If your batteries explode, just clean them. If your LEDs burn out, on that box that pops out or tabs that pop it open, you can replace the LEDs. This will be the hardest one right here, but on the inside is a little circuit board that has the LEDs attached to it. The circuit board's glued in. If you carefully pop it off, you can desolder and resolder on a set of LEDs. It's an alternating red and orange, so it's two LEDs that flash back and forth really fast. Right there. It's been used before in many other pieces that Department 56 has used to imitate fire. So that concludes the Porcelain Houseworks piece from Department 56. Isopropyl alcohol, you don't have to buy it in a gallon jug. I use 91% or higher. What I buy is 99%. The off-gassing of this is toxic, so if you do buy something like this, don't do it in a closed room. Make sure you have good ventilation. The standard legal stuff, because isopropyl is bad to inhale, unless you like smelling it all day. It's still bad, though. Cotton swabs. This is the cotton swab assortment kit from Amazon, I'll put a link for it below, but it comes with 6 different size swabs. And it's just that you don't have to use an electric, but you can use a basic screwdriver, an old toothbrush, maybe a blade screwdriver to scrape. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if you have to take the circuit board out, excuse me, to replace the one or both of the LEDs in here, you would need hot glue to reattach it. But this just takes basic tools. Stuff that you probably have lying around your house that you can easily use to repair this piece. Unless you lose an LED, then you might have to order one. But it has 2 medium temperature LEDs. They're not cold white, they're not warm white, they're in between the two. It's not gold white either, which is even warmer than warm white. So they're kind of a medium intensity. I forgot the actual color range. And then you have a red and an orange alternating LED in here. So this is very basic. And if you can't fix it, let's say you lost your inner battery pack or the corrosion's so bad you don't want to deal with it, you can make it run on a standard light bulb. Whether it be the 120 volt version like this, or even the 3 volt ones that, you know, look like this, but they're 3 volt bulbs. So this is a very versatile piece. And of course you can use that remote control display thing. It matches on the sticker on the inside. So a very versatile piece, very nice piece. I like the lighting. It doesn't fit my motif, but it is a nice looking piece. The attention to detail is immaculate. And if you have this piece, hopefully you like it in your display. And now you know how to open it, which I'm sure you knew if you already changed the base, but how to clean it using alcohol, toothbrush, blade screwdriver, cotton swabs, and what you can do if something inside here fails, besides just swapping it over to a basic light. So until the next one, thanks for watching.